Welcome to this guide in which I will show you how to integrate your identity provider with NetBird. This setup automatically synchronizes users and groups from your IDP to NetBird, and that helps you to automate user onboarding and user offboarding. So once this integration is set up, NetBird will immediately reflect any changes that are made within your IDP, and that is keeping your network access controls in line with your organizational structure by itself without needing to perform any manual updates. The final result of an IDP integration provides a great overview. Here's what it looks like. So all these users and groups have been synchronized from the IDP to NetBird, and these are also the groups and users that you can then use to define access control policies or to update network configurations like DNS. And they can be used just like the groups that you create within NetBird itself. We do offer the integration with a few IDP solutions, but in this video I'll be walking through the integration with Microsoft ID, formerly known as Azure AD, and will follow the complete configuration process. So let's go back to the state where we have only one user within the network, which is the account owner. If you want to synchronize users from your identity provider, you can do that by either clicking on Identity Provider Sync from the Users tab here, or by going to Integrations and then Identity Provider. You can see some of the IDP solutions that NetBird supports, including Google, Okta, and Microsoft Azure. You can also integrate custom IDP solutions. Contact us if you're interested in that. So before we begin with the actual configuration, let's cover the prerequisites. You will need an account within your chosen IDP, and you will also need administrative permissions to create and manage applications within that IDP. Without these permissions, you won't be able to complete the setup. The whole process will typically take about 10 to 20 minutes, but you will see it will go much faster when I guide you through it now step by step. So first log in and then navigate to the Azure Active Directory. And now all we do is follow these configuration steps. I will position the screens side by side to make copying and pasting a bit easier and to give you a better overview of what I'm doing. So from the Azure Active Directory, we will now add NetBird as an application. So go to the app registrations and then click on New Registration. Then we'll use NetBird, which is ready to copy and then paste it into Azure as the name of our app. If you hover over the account type section, you will see that we're looking for a single tenant, which is already selected. And for the redirect URI, we select single page application, and then we paste the URI that is provided here in the setup instructions and click register. So now the app was registered, and the next step is to add API permissions. So on the left menu, click on API permissions and then select add permission. And here you choose Microsoft Graph and then application permissions. Now we need to select two permissions. One of them is user read all and the other one is group read all. And these permissions allow NetBird to read user profiles and group properties, but they do not grant the ability to delete or modify any of your business data. After selecting these two permissions, grant admin consent for the default directory by clicking here and then confirming with yes. And next we'll create a client secret. So navigate to Certificates and Secrets on the left menu and then click on New Client Secret. We'll name the secret NetBird and then choose an expiration date. 6 months is a good choice, but keep in mind that once the secret expires, it will no longer work, so you will need to generate a new client secret and then update in your settings in NetBird. So it's a good idea to keep track of these expiration dates to avoid any disruptions. Now copy the secret value and paste it into the NetBird UI. And then we click on this link to navigate back to all applications and select NetBird. And from here, we just need to extract the application ID and the directory ID and paste them into the UI. Lastly, you have the option to synchronize specific groups. So one of the main purposes of synchronizing your IDPs with NetBird is to take over the groups and the users that are already set up within that IDP. And in this case, we have groups such as development, finance, and marketing. And you can choose to synchronize only specific groups. But if you don't do that, all the groups and all the users will be synced, and I will do that for now. So now the configuration is finalized, and if you go back to the Users tab, you will see that all the users and their associated groups are automatically synced to NetBird. Now I want to show you how this would be helpful in a real-world scenario for both user onboarding and user offboarding. So let's start with the user onboarding scenario. Let's say we have a new employee and her name is Penny, and she will be working in the IT department. You would then probably first add her to Azure by setting up a profile with her name and possibly also already assigning her to the IT department group. Now, without a synchronization with NetBird, you would then need to manually create a user profile in NetBird and then manually assign the appropriate groups and permissions. And that can be time-consuming and also prone to mistakes. But with the synchronization, NetBird would have automatically synchronized the changes from Azure. So NetBird would have created a user profile for Penny. And if Penny, as in our case, is assigned to a specific group like the IT department, NetBird would also automatically assign her to that group, and she would inherit the access permissions that are based on this group membership. Now let's consider a user offboarding scenario. If an employee like Damaso has left the company and you would remove him from Azure, then without the synchronization you would also need to manually delete that user from NetBird, which is an additional task to keep track of and can also lead to security risks if it's not done immediately and properly. But with the synchronization, NetBird would automatically remove Damaso's access, and this ensures that former employees, like in this case Damaso, can no longer access your network resources, and that is reducing the risk of unauthorized access and is also saving you from having to perform manual deletions. Lastly, I want to show you how IDP group memberships and access control policies work together. There's a full video on access control policies that you can watch, and it's linked below. This is me, and I have one device connected, which is my MacBook, and I'm currently a member of the IT administration group, and that is also reflected within the IDP. Now I'll add myself to the development group, and then let's refresh this page and perform a sync. So synchronizations between NetBird and your IDP happen automatically every 5 minutes, but you can also trigger them manually. Go back to the Users tab, and I'm now a part of the development group. I did already set up a policy that allows development to communicate to servers, and since I'm a part of development now, I should be able to ping the server. So let's try that by copying the server address from the Peers tab, and then I will perform a ping request, and there you go. Now let's reverse this process by removing myself from the development group. Again, this will revoke my access to the server. And let's quickly do another synchronization. And now if I go back to the terminal, you will see that I can no longer connect to the server because I was removed from the development group and therefore I do not have the access permissions. That's it for today's guide on NetBird and identity provider integration. Thanks for watching and enjoy your automated user management.